Welcome everyone to another episode of The Final Credits. There's a bit of news. Hey, Johnny.
Yeah?
I got something to say. And I'm offended. I am personally offended because apparently now they want to try to make more Lord of the Rings content. Now, when I say more, unfortunately, we're getting into remake territory with the Lord of the Rings.
I thought you were going to use the other R word.
No.
Multiverse?
Reboot.
That's just as bad, Pancakes. This is just as bad. Like many others out there, this is my favorite trilogy of all time. Straight up, it's fluid in how it's told. It was shot all at once, and we've said for years, as a bit of a nerd community, that this is a series that needs absolutely no remake. This is officially like a classic. Now, adding on to The Hobbit and everything, yes, you're adding on to like another source material, which is fine. But to remake a perfect trilogy is a bit of sacrilege. Gotta be honest. Not even counting the Rings of Power series that's out right now, from which I've heard mixed to kind of reactions to it, and it is not really worth getting into. Again, you have big budget trilogy movies that only had like millions of dollars put into it versus
billions
with a B put into this show, and not much came out of it whatsoever.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched one episode.
Yeah, sure.
And I love the trilogy, and the Hobbit trilogy, and they lost me the first half hour. I was like, okay, this is way too much. Lost me. Yeah, lost me.
So suffice it to say, when you have these studios coming out here saying, the CEO of Warner Brothers is suggesting multiple movies come out. Now, don't get me wrong. There is more content to make out of here if they decide to do something more of like the Second Age. That's where the Amazon show comes in. Or, God willing, the First Age, where things just blew up all over the place. It was phenomenal everywhere. That is like some God fighting God kind of like territory things happening, and like real ancient things going down, and legends literally being told. I'd like to see that. Perhaps a little bit of an oversaturation, especially since Rings of Power hasn't been doing all that well. But to even utter remake, reboot. Listen, the original trilogy needs no remake. Absolutely not.
Was it confirmed that it's going to be like remake content?
The fact that it has been uttered. Ooh. It has been uttered. Not even that
so
like
it's possible.
It is a possibility. And yes, I'm going to be that sweaty nerd for a hot second. I have been for a hot second. So please excuse me. I'm not sorry. Absolutely not. Get that crap out of here, please.
Grim, what's your reaction that Peter, probably as a courtesy, that Peter Jackson and his team were kept in the loop on this announcement probably before it came out?
Fine. Cool. Again, don't give me a remake. It's
I feel like they're going to try to get him to come back in some capacity.
Listen, there's one thing movie studios love more than anyone else, and it's your money. They want it, and they're gonna try their best to get it. They want your money. Keep it in your pockets or spend it. That's up to you.
But the way I think of it is, if you're going to do a reboot, you have to do it better than the originals, right?
That is,
you know how hard that is.
That is literally every thought process of every reboot and every remake in imagination. And I'm going to be honest, 9.5 times out of 10, they fall flat on their face. And I don't need this to ruin something I truly and dearly love.
And the thing is too, like I feel like the way movies are being filmed these days, like there's a clear oversaturation of CGI effects being used. Obviously, if you're a Marvel fan, you know all about that. But if you're gonna remake, like look at those movies. I mean, I'm like, and I'll say right now, I'm sure we're probably gonna get like downvotes or whatever for this, but I never got into Lord of the Rings as a series. I just never took the time to. I know I'm terrible. Send me to hell. But they're beautiful movies, though. I mean, from like the parts of the movies that I have like caught on TV and things like that, like they are beautiful movies to this day. If you're going to remake them, why? What will you be able to do with them that'll make them look better, be filmed better? Like, are you going to change up the dialogue? Are you going to change up certain parts of the story? Like, what? You got to have a reason to do it. Because it's one thing is that these movies were done in the 70s and they were cheaply, the effects were cheap and everything. But these are movies that they're not that old. They're 20 years old, but like they're still from a time when movie effects were really starting to blow up. So they still look good by this day and age. So I just don't understand why they would want to do it if there wasn't a reason to.
Well, Johnny, something I feel like I need to also include in this as well, seeing as you've clearly not seen the original trilogy, we're going to change that one day. I promise you that.
Oh, no, it's top of my list of things of movies to watch.
Yeah, top of your list. I'm going to change that for you, bud. But anyway, what I'm about to get into, though, is like in the original trilogy, you did have a bit of CGI, but it was definitely more practical effects and makeup than anything with the Lord of the Rings. Cut ahead to The Hobbit, where they did use a lot more CGI, and I personally feel like it suffered because of it. If they would have stuck more with the practical effects and the makeup, would have visually looked a lot better.
I remember that being The Hobbit.
Like New Zealand at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But honestly, are you shocked? Spade was just doing this. Honestly, are you shocked? Look at the big money franchises that fall under fall under Warner Brothers. Obviously, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, DC, Batman in particular. So it's not a surprise, Yeah,
but the difference, Pancakes, is that those are continuations or different stories. While as Lord of the Rings, there's only one story. How many times can you say the same story in a different way? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense.
I guess so, yeah.
Right, but it would make sense if they made new stories, additions, or prequels, sequels, whatever. Not the same story over again. What's the point in that?
That's again why I mentioned if we do stuff from the first stage, which happens like thousands and thousands and thousands of years before where we actually saw things in the Lord of the Rings. And even in the second age, like Rings of Power, I believe takes place at the end of the second age, beginning of the third age. And third age is where we're seeing Lord of the Rings happening and The Hobbit. If we would have seen things like centuries, thousands, like millennia before all that in the second age, it would like grab a new audience, a younger audience, which is okay. Again, it's oversaturation to something that I feel is already perfect. You've already made the Sistine Chapel, and it's phenomenal. It's perfect. Why are you adding more crayon to it?
Yeah. Now, well, one question I have too. Assuming, because like we were saying before, this is not confirmed to be a remake or reboot of any kind. There's just more content on the way.
Go on.
So I'm asking you directly, since you're obviously you're the fan here, and I'm not. Have we covered everything, like the movies that have come out between like the trilogy and the original trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, and the Amazon series? Have we covered everything that Tolkien has written? Because are we going to then enter like a Game of Thrones situation where we are going to have movies and whatnot that aren't based on
spin-offs?
So
that's my question.
Okay, so the short answer is yes. Tolkien has written the Lord of the Rings trilogy book and The Hobbit. Now, his family wrote something called the Silmarillion, which is another story and dove a lot more into Middle Earth with the First and Second Age as well. So you're correct, Johnny, but at the same time though, there is like more content to put out there. Listen, if you ask Stephen Colbert about this, he may be hyped. He may actually side with us. As far as I know, he's one of like the biggest Tolkien fans that
I watch him a lot. Yeah, he's a huge fan.
Oh my god, I pray to that man.
I've heard.
Shout out to Stephen Colbert. Like and subscribe, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. To reboot this movie, to remake it, even if it's only been uttered in the dark. If I could, I would find them. I would slap that taste right out of their mouth and say, absolutely not. Go back. Go back to wherever you crawled out from.
It's definitely strategy that the CEO of Warner Media didn't use those two R words, remake, reboot, to not enrage the fan base, at least not yet. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to David Zaslav, the CEO, I everything else that's on his amazing track record right now with WB, I do not trust him one bit.
No.
So,
trust him with Rings of Power.
Yeah, and see, apparently that didn't do well.
Power was not part of WB; it was part of Amazon. Two totally different things.
That's fair, but still, from watching Rings of Power to like hearing about this news, it does not inspire confidence. Is what I'm trying to say. But please let us know what you guys feel about this. Let us know. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the things down in the doobly-doo. And for now, roll credits. We're out.
Roll credits.